Hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs. Welcome to my live quilting chat, Tipsy Tuesday. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, hit that like button on Facebook and make sure that you are subscribed to our channel on YouTube. That way you'll never miss our live show. You'll get a notification when we go live. It is worth it to stay tuned throughout our whole show. We have 2 giveaways every show. You can win a $25 gift card just by commenting, saying hi. And if you're new around here, say hi to everybody watching. We're all friends here, and it's really fun to chat throughout our show. So, of course, we have a live winner from your comments, from all your comments, and then we have a giveaway question at the end as well. So, doesn't matter if you're not catching us live, you can still win. Win and go shopping. Say hi to Mr. HP, running the show, really running the show.
Hi, everybody. How
I'm
you
just
doing?
in front of the camera.
No, she's really the one.
So today we're going to continue with part 3 of our Jackie quilt along. We're going to finish putting our blocks together, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about quilt backings and of course show you some amazing new fabrics in our store. So speaking of giveaways, let's announce our giveaway winner from our last show. Our question that I asked you, what's your favorite pair of shoes? It caused quite the discussion. Things were revealed as far as his love of shoes.
You've seen my shoes, right?
And he showed his shoes, his favorite at the time. It might be different now. And we're a week later. It might be a different pair.
I got a new... never mind.
Huh? You got a new pair already?
No.
He probably does. All right, so our winner from our question was Deborah Siltala. So congratulations, Deborah. Her favorite is a New Balance. My feet can't do heels or shoes without good support anymore. I hear that. I hear that. You know what? Let's not ruin our shoes. Those of you that are young, younger than me, just be careful. Don't ruin your feet.
Like me.
Don't ruin your feet. Don't be squeezing in them tiny shoes and pointy toes.
Ain't that how you get bunions and corns?
Yes, all those bad stuff. Although they're cute though. I mean, I like cute shoes, but there are so many now cute ones that are actually good for your feet too. So that's what I choose. That's what I choose. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the quilts behind me. I have, of course, a Jackie on the set made from our Daydreamer by Tulip Pink bundle. And then in the corner is a brand new one. So this is Algorithm. Algorithm is in my Stripology Squared book, and this one is made with a fabric line called Flirt. That is a kind of a Valentine's themed line. I really don't think it's that Valentine-y because, Valentini, I don't know, what do you call it? Because it's really just black and red and white, and love should be something that we don't just celebrate on Valentine's Day. It should be something we celebrate every single day. So I think it's kind of universal. I really wanted to make this quilt out of this fabric line because it's really similar to the line I used in the quilt that's in the book. So the actual quilt that's in the book is made with a very similar fabric line. And this fabric line is available on pre-order right now. It's shipping like next week. Yes, or this week. So it's probably going to arrive on Valentine's Day. How's that for delays of shipping? That we receive the Valentine's fabric on Valentine's Day. Wouldn't that be great? But that's just how it is. That's something we have to live with. This is what the bundle looks like. Do you have a image of that order, that pre-order? There it is, yeah. So 12 pieces, equal split between reds and blacks and creams, low volume. So I love that for a quilt like Algorithm. So gives it kind of a control colorway and still have enough variety. All right, it's a quick quilt to make too. And if you don't remember, I made a a table runner out of that too with charm packs, with a charm pack. But you can, of course, if you cut 10-inch squares from the bundle, then you can also cut 5-inch squares, so you can make both, actually 2 runners and a quilt. So it's a beautiful thing. All right, so on the cabinet, of course, is our window seat runner. I brought that one out since Valentine's Day is next week. This is made from our Love is in the Air, kind of a French love-inspired line. But you know what? It's not just for Valentine's Day. That's what I'm saying. It's for all year round. Love is a beautiful thing. It should be celebrated every day.
I agree.
Right, honey?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I wanted to just say, the reason why I was a little flustered coming on the set is because
Who knew that?
I was eating until the last minute I sat down. So those of you that are signed up for a retreat, I always include some recipes for something you can make ahead and enjoy throughout the retreat. And so I was testing one of the recipes. So one of the recipes that's going in your retreat package, this is like a little snack thing. A recipe that I got from my friend in Iceland. We had it when we were in Iceland, so I had to make it just to test it with all the American ingredients. And so, yeah, that snack turned into dinner, didn't it? Oh, you're still eating it. We can't show them. We can't talk about it.
They don't know what it is.
But it's really good.
It really is good.
Really is good. And like many of my snacks.
I did show it. No.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they didn't see.
Kind of not.
Well, like many of my snacks and dips and things, if you have been following along with our sew-alongs and things like that, they might have a little weird ingredients. But when you put it all together, it's really good. So trust me, it's going to be good. So speaking of retreat, we are still on track to ship out our retreat boxes next week. I just got a shipping notification for that last bundle we've been waiting for. So yes, we are going to roll up our sleeves next week, get it all cut this week and next, get it all cut and out the door. That's our goal. That's our goal. So we're excited about that. So hopefully this fabric will get here by the end of the week and we can get to work. We can really get to work. All right. Any questions or comments on our blabber? We are experiencing a wonderful temperatures in
It's summer today.
the 30s.
It's summer today.
It's kind of funny because, we've had those, days of 30s and it feels like summer. And then it's just like those teaser days. And then they go away. Of course, the next day is like 10 below. Yesterday was 14 below. And then today, it was like 40 almost, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm like so skeptical that this is going to stay. But I did look at the temperature. So I guess it's here for like a few days. But then it's like -2 on the low on Saturday or something. But then it creeps up again. So hopefully it's the beginning of the end. Beginning of the end of the belows. The belows.
Staying lighter, later, a little bit.
Yeah, noticing that too. That is something that really picks up your spirit, doesn't it? To see a little more daylight. And I just caught it on the news that our daylight hours, the days are gonna get longer really fast now for the next couple months. So that's a beautiful thing.
Someone says 83 in San Diego today.
Oh, San Diego.
Whatever. Enjoy. Send some our way, please.
That's all right. That's all right. Kobe doesn't mind it being this warm. He was eager for us to go outside and hang out today because his paws don't freeze off by just doing his business. Anyways, I know you're all waiting for the next step of the Jackie Quilt Along, so let's just dive right into it and check out our part 3, which is, of course, finishing or assembling our block. So I pre-recorded this video, so let's check out part 3 of the Jackie Quilt Along. Hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs, and in this video, I'm going to take you through part 3 of the assembly for the Jackie quilt. As we finished part 2 you should have all of your units trimmed. And in this part 3, we're going to go through steps 5 through 7 of the pattern. So we are going to have, if you are doing a quilt with different block backgrounds, you should have 4 identical background pieces together in a block. If you're doing all the same backgrounds, remember you need to have 4 that match the same fabric in the middle, because all your backgrounds are going to be the same. So first off, we are going to sew these together. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the units. We press them one direction, same direction here, the triangles, remember that. So we are going to notice that this one is pressed this way, and then this one is pressed this way. So what we want to do as we sew these together, we want to sew them together so that the strips here in the middle, or rectangles, are pointing down together, down to the center. And we want this one to be pressed this way, and then we're going to turn this one so that it's pressed this way, so these 2 seams can nest together. So as we sew them, you flip them on here, and I just align the top corner, and you can feel these should nest. They should not overlap. Now, in case they are overlapping, you feel like they're on top of each other, it can happen possibly when you were trimming if you weren't completely centered. So in that case, I would just try and turn my units and try it this way. It's a little trick. Try one way and it doesn't quite, you're not quite happy with it, you can just try the other way. So we're going to stitch these together so you make 2 identical like this. So they're both going down each way. We're going to do that same thing whether you're doing regular backgrounds or individual block backgrounds. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about these units is that these corners where the triangles were sewn on, these are not on the bias, so they are on the straighter grain. However, these 2 are on the bias. So we want to be a little bit careful when we're sewing these together. So now we have them sewn together here. So as you see, these corners are still bias, and then this little bit up here. So now it's time to sew them together, and as we do that, we're going to add that rectangle of a strip between them. So you want to either use the same one you had here if you're doing a single background. Let me show you. So then you want to match the one that you used for the blocks like this. If you're doing maybe all the same, it really, of course, doesn't matter. So as I sew these on, I know that this part here is a little bit on the bias. So as I sew this first one on, I flip it on to right sides together. And as I sew it, I want to keep the strip on the top because we're going to use this rule, bias on the bottom, or bob rule. So we're going to have a strip on top. I sew this here, and then I press. Whether you're pressing towards the strip or away from it, really doesn't matter. I talked about that earlier where you can choose if you have really light fabrics like I do here. I actually pressed away from my strips. So I press, and then I do the same thing as I'm going to sew this one on. I actually have this one on the bottom and would place this whole unit on the top just so I can help make this bottom one more stable. So as we have that one sewn on, really just one more step left. Here it is, sewn in and pressed. So now we just need to add our skinny rectangles to each side. And you want to make sure that you put them on the side of where that long strip ends. So we are technically just floating this design inside the block. So we're having this background float all the way around. So whenever I'm sewing these long skinny strips to the sides here, again, this part is, these little parts here and here are on the bias, so I would always leave these on top because this one is not. Whenever I do these long skinny strips, and you sometimes may have had this issue when you pieced a whole block and you're adding rectangles and they're a little bit longer than they were supposed to, or they seem like that, I like to pin on one side, and then I like to, that is if your strip is not, you know, half an inch longer or something, but if it's just a sliver, I like to pin the other side so they're even on both sides. And even if there's a little looseness here, I give it a little tug and then pin the middle. So then as we sew, the machine is going to help ease all of that in. But of course, if it's more than, if it's a 1/4 inch or more, then you probably do need to trim. So both these sides on, and then we're going to press, and that finishes off our blocks like this. So it is listed in the book, the size, finished size of the blocks. So once you have all of your blocks ready, I have a few more for my single background, so that's going to be colorful. And then I have a few done as well for my single background for my crib size quilt. So the next step, as we go through part 4 of the pattern, I will take you through putting it all together. So that concludes part 3 of our assembly for the Jackie quilt, and I will see you next time in part 4, where we will put it all together and finish our quilts. And there it is, our part 3 where we put it all together. Some more tips for you. We brought our good friend Bob back. Yes, he is one of my best buddies because he stands for kind of 2 things. If you were with us during the Elvira Quilt Along in early 2020, that's when many of you heard about him for the first time. That means bias on the bottom if you have something that's cut on the bias, which means it's diagonal across the grain of fabric. You know, the grain of fabric goes like this and like this on the bolt. So whenever we cut something on the diagonal, doesn't matter what angle, we have a bias edge. So when you're sewing a bias edge to a straighter grain edge, like something cut from strips, it's better to keep that on the bottom. Now sometimes we have 2 biases, so we can't really help it, but bias on the bottom is one of the things that Bob stands for. The other thing is bigger on the bottom. Bigger on the bottom. Now that should not really happen if we have cut all our pieces good, if our seam allowances are those really great scant 1/4 inch. We shouldn't have to deal with that many times. But, you know, sometimes it happens. It happens. Like anything. So, Bob is such a great buddy, isn't he? He really helps out because those feed dogs, when that bias is on the bottom, keeps it stable. The strip on the top that's cut on the straighter grain keeps it also stable, so nothing will push and slide. All right, so any questions on this part of the Jackie Quilt Along? So, yes, Bob is a much better friend than Jack. I'll tell you that. Jack is important. He's necessary. And if you don't know who Jack is, that is, of course, your seam ripper, Jack the Ripper. But Jack, he has to be here. We have to be friends with him because it does happen. I just ripped out. Raise your hand if you ripped out some seams today. That would be me. Even as I was filming something, I had to go back, rip, redo. Yeah, it happens. To the best of us. To all of us. Let's keep it real. All right. Would you suggest using a walking foot for this part? I don't know. I don't think that's necessary. Not at all, because you're sewing a straight grain to a bias. So not necessary at all. Really walking foot, where that's going to help if we have a lot of thickness. So when you're doing anything, quilt as you go, quilting, anything like that, that's when a walking foot, putting binding on, anything like that, that's where the walking foot is key and crucial. All right. Let's see. Do you see any questions? Just comment?
No, just comments.
Just comments.
Thanks for Bob tip.
It's really great to see, you know, a lot of you have gone ahead and finished because you get too excited when your quilt is almost together. I get it, I get it. So now that you can finish your blocks, the last part will be next week, and that's really just putting it all together. Not a whole lot of tips, but of course I always have something that may help you out. So I'm excited to see all those jackies come together. They're going to be gorgeous, and I'm excited to see my 3 jackies come together as well. So they've been kind of my leaders and enders as I've been going through these past few weeks. Got a lot going on. I'm sewing up a lot of other things, so it's been good and fun to work on it. So can't wait to put it all together. And we made what, 3 jackies before the quilt along? 4. So I'm gonna have a lot of jackies to go around. A lot of jackies to go around.
What's this one here?
How do you decide on how to quilt your quilt once you have completed the top? Well, that's a great question because this also, of course, depends on if you have your quilt long arm quilted or if you long arm it yourself or if you're quilting it yourself on a domestic machine. And if you're doing that, then are you more comfortable with walking footwork or are you comfortable with free motion? It all plays into the final decision because I'm all about do what works for you. So what I used to do before I did any long arming myself, I used to pretty much give it up to my long arm quilters to decide what they wanted to do with my quilt. I sometimes had a little bit of an idea, but I had such great quilters that they usually came up with something way cooler than what I would have ever figured out myself. Now that I am long arming myself, although I'm only doing pantographs, so something just all over pattern, this should be a whole episode. I could talk about this for a while. But then you try and find something that complements your quilt but yet breaks up. If there's a lot of straight line, something wavy that breaks it up. Maybe I get inspired by something that's in the fabric, if it's a certain flower or some kind of floral, if it's a themed, a holiday one. There's so many things to consider. And then, you know, it's a whole lot of things to consider. I think it would take up a whole episode to talk about that. So maybe that would be fun to do. Give you some examples. What do you do with all your sample quilts? Most of the time, donate. I pass it on. Pass the love on. The love I get from making the quilts and creating them, I usually try and pass it on. So, what is that saying? What is that saying where you know, like they do at Starbucks, if somebody pays for the next person's cup of coffee?
Pay it forward.
I'll pay it forward. Yeah, pay it forward. So I've given a lot of quilts to the homeless. I just donated 2 quilts just last week to the local high school booster, or actually the senior class fund, because we've had 2 wonderful seniors working for us for the past, almost 3 years. They started when they were sophomores. Yeah. And they still work for us a few times a week after school and in the summer, and they are just wonderful, and we're really going to miss them. So I donated 2 big quilts to go up for an auction for their graduating class in their honor. So yeah, I donate most of it. Give it away. Sometimes we do a sample sale, but I always take that money and pay it forward. Donate it to somewhere else.
Here's a question for you.
Does Mr. HP do any of the long arm quilting? You should answer that. It's not for me.
Silence.
Silence.
No, I know where my lane is.
That's not his lane. Yeah, you do have opinions on it, though. There's certain patterns he likes better than others. Just like there's certain fabrics you like better than others.
True that. I just stay out the way.
I'll stay out the way. Gertie is, she's pretty independent. All we got to do is get her going, and she goes. So, all right. Are we good on Jackie? Can we move on from Jackie? All right. Whoever folds the fabric, your mail is the best. Well, I'm going to pay that forward and tell my folks that fold. We have a lot of people folding, just because there's a lot of people that work for us that do many different things. But there's standards that need to be met. So we take pride in everything we do, whether it's folding the fabric, cutting it, and making sure it looks good, packaged good. Yeah, we wanted to get to you safe, fast, and in good. You can pull it out and it's pretty too. It's pretty.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I've gotten so many questions lately about backing requirements. You know, I get this periodically. Somebody's doing one of my patterns and they can't figure out how the backing fabric requirements are going to work for their quilt because they are used to doing just either one seam or something from other patterns. Now, I know that we have a lot of newer folks that haven't been following me for a long time, but I did a backing 101, quilt backing 101 video a while back. And this video, it's about 20 minutes, so we're not going to play it here for you, but you can go to YouTube and find it. I actually included the links in the description of this video. So this video takes you through calculating the most economical yardage for your quilt back. And then also talk a little bit about making your quilts a little bit more interesting by piece backs and things like that. And I talk a little bit about different materials like minky and flannel and things like that. So what I also wanted to show you is there is a bonus. Oh, that's pretty. There is a little bonus material from that video you can find on my website. So also the link is in the description. So if you're on YouTube, it's below. On Facebook, it's above. So it's you go to our website, gequiltdesigns.com. You go to bonus charts and templates, scroll down a little bit, and then you will see the backing sheet. So this is what that looks like. It's 3 pages. So 3 pages of backings. And this, so here's my theory on this though. Let me tell you how I calculate, and this is only because I came from being a quilter for a long time, making quilts and wanting to purchase backing and not have a whole bunch of leftover. You know, when they sometimes tell you to buy 2 lengths and the quilt is only 64 inches wide, it doesn't make sense to me to have a whole 80 by, I don't know, 18 inches left over. That I could buy a lot of other fabric with that money. So I always figured out a way to use the least amount of fabric for the back, even if it included adding just one more seam. One more seam, that's it. So here's how my thought process is when I'm calculating backing for my quilts and for my patterns. So let me just take you through it, and then you can go back and watch the video if you haven't done that yet. It's gonna, you know, it explains everything better. Print out the little pieces of paper. But so let me just explain really quickly. So you got your quilt, and let's have our quilt here. So my quilt is 75 by 55 measured. That's my quilt top. That means I need to make it, I'm going to take it to a long arm quilter, so I need to make it a little bit bigger. So I need to make it at least 6 inches bigger. So my minimum size is going to be 61 by 81, right? That's my back that it needs to be. So I now have to figure out, so if it's probably a big lap. So with lap size, if the quilt is between 70 and 80 inches long, I just buy 2 widths. Because if I was going to buy 2 lengths, this is going to be, I'm going to have a lot, I'm going to have 19 inches at least or more of that length. So then it's easy to just do 2 widths. Now, if it was a bit shorter, let's say it was only, it's a square quilt. Let's say it's a square quilt. So it's only, I need it only but 61 by 61. Then, instead of buying 2 full widths, I'd be the same thing. I'd have so much left over. So if it's 61 by 61, what I would do is buy 1 full width, so that's 61 inches, and then I would just buy a half width. So I'd be I'll be buying 1.5 width. Does that make sense? 1.5 width would be, I would have to buy 61 inches plus about 32. So that'd be 93 inches. And all I'd have to do is take the half width, cut it on the fold, sew it back together. So I have one seam here, one seam here. The grain of the fabric is still the same everywhere. Because I don't know if you know, fabric comes off the bolt. There are strands that go the length of the fabric that are a bit stronger than the ones that go across. So long arm quilters will be really appreciative if you are just doing a couple of seams in a quilt back, that the fabric is laying the same way. All right. Now it's different if you're doing a whole scrappy back. That's not that's a whole different thing. So I'll do that. Sometimes I'll do a 1.5 length. It all depends on where can I come out on top by getting the least amount of backing. So that is usually with my lap size. With my bed size, so twin size, I break it down. Your size range for twin size is usually 64 by 70 inch wide. It can be from anywhere from 88 to 100 in length. So then we're talking about buying 2.5 widths. That's going to give you the least amount of fabric. But make sure you know that that is the size of the backing. So if your quilt is 64 by 88, make sure you add the inches you need if you're taking it to a long armor. All right. Same thing with full. Size range can be between 78 and 86 wide to 88 to 100 long. Again, 2 lengths if it's under 80 wide, but if otherwise, 2.5 widths. Queen, same thing, 2.5 lengths or widths, unless either is over 100 inches. So then you're going to 3 widths most likely. So for king, because they're usually over 100, so buy 3 lengths or 3 widths, whichever is shorter. So check that out. Check that out. Last piece of it would be the crib size backing and the table runners. I talk about that too, just to get the least amount of backing. So I want you to check it out, because so many times I have gotten an email saying that a pattern needs to be corrected because there's not enough fabric for backing, and then I explain it to them. Oh, and most people are happy not having to buy too much backing fabric and just spending on something they want to use for the front of their quilt. But yeah, so and these calculations totally apply. So when I am doing, we do a lot of quilts that I also just always, I'm just ready to donate. So then I am putting together backings, piecing all kinds of things. So I figure out the measurements first, and then I see the pieces that I have to work with, and I piece it all together to fit it. So yes, my quilts can be just as colorful and scrappy on the back as they are on the front. Half width, is half width a half yard? No, half the width of the fabric. So usually our fabric is 42 to 44 inches wide, so it's the half of that. So half width. So if I'm talking about buy 1.5 width for your back, that's 1.5 width of the quilt back that you need. So if you need 60 inches for the width, you buy 60 plus half of that. So 60 plus 30, you need 90 inches of fabric to put together. I'm talking about the width and the length of the quilt. Yes. Width and the length of the quilt. Back. Width and the length of the quilt back that you need. So again, it's going to be explained much more slower and in depth in the video. So please go check it out. Please go check it out, and we'll follow up with your questions. We'll talk about quilt backs. Let's talk about quilt backs next week. It's because we're finishing up Jackie, and I'll show you some piece backs. I'll show you some examples. So if you want to study ahead of time, go ahead and watch that video, and then you'll kind of probably understand more what I'm talking about. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Awesome. All right. So I think it's time to check out some of our beautiful new things that are in the store. So we have a brand new St. Patrick's Day bundle, and I wanted to, it's just a small 6-piece bundle from, this is, who was the designer again? I think it's by Northcott. It is Patrick Lowe's, I believe. So this one is called Love of the Irish. Love of the Irish. So just these two colorways of greens and creams and just a little speck of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? So I love these, and I love them because they are not so screaming St. Patrick's Day. They're just a bit Irish. Now, I'm not going to try and talk an Irish accent because I'm horrible at accents. My kids will have a fit and laugh hysterically if I even attempt it. The only accent I can do, I can speak in an Icelandic accent. Are you guys good with accents? Are you good with accents? No, I don't think you are. All right, so here's the bundle. Just 6 pieces, 3 green, 3 lights. They'd be great for so many different things. So I pulled just a few 1 yards that match these different shades of green because there's from the darkest, very dark here, which I went chalk and charcoal green, color 7, and then it had to be an emerald green with little specks of gold. This is speckled in the emerald green, and then the medium would be the thatched and the grass, so just a tad bit olive tone to it, and then we had to have a little bit of the kind of lightest lemony green or lime green, metallic, speckled metallic, and the citron also has some gold specks. So I love these hues of green, beautiful, beautiful. And then the tone that these are pretty white, so I would say circle burst white on white is perfect. And if you wanted to add a focus fabric, something that stands out, I love just a good black, so I think this would be really cool. The diagonal plaid and the nocturnal in the night color. So Luck of the Irish is this one. And so may the luck of the Irish be with you. 6 pieces. So let me show you. We have another Irish bundle. It's called Hello Lucky in stock. So this one is 8 pieces, but it mixes up perfectly. It has a little bit of black in it too, so it really tones well with it. And we took a photo of these two together, these two bundles together. Look how great they look together. Oh, I love that little clover that was made with the fabric. How cute. And so this would just make really cute things for St. Patrick's Day, like for example this. Look, this is the curvaceous runner that you made with the Hello Lucky, and you could mix in the Luck of the Irish or do it for both. Yeah, look at what a fun back you can play with too. Yeah, piece your backs. It's a double-sided runner. So Luck of the Irish is ready to fly out. Just 6 pieces. Great to have, just, you know, not only to decorate with, but if you have friends with Irish, you know, heritage, it's always fun to include a little bit of that in gifts like that. All right, the next thing I wanted to show you is a new fabric line that we have now in our basics, in our 1 yard. So this one is called Dot Matrix, also by Patrick Lowe's, and I love these. They are just phenomenal, great basics. The colors are great, very saturated. So so it's just like a little modern print dots that create kind of like a grid. And so we have 14 different colors. I don't know if I brought all of them. Most of them, maybe. Not all of them, no. That's not all of them. So we have them all in 1 yards, but we also, like we do sometimes with new 1 yards, we did a fat quarter stash builder. So there are 14 fat quarters, all the colors. In one, we have a chart here that tells you exactly what's in here. So if you need more of anything, it's easy to pick up and order. So these are in stock right now. the dot matrix, fat quarter bundle, and also 1 yards. So those of you that are maybe not familiar with our 1 yard deals, we have a lot of our fabrics. They're all pre-cut into 1 yards, but you can mix and match. If you purchase 5 or more, you get a price break, and then if you go over 10 pieces, you get another price break. So you can get a really good deal on fabulous basic fabrics from our 1 yard section. All right, so here we have another bundle. This one just came in, and it is a really beautiful, a little bit Asian inspired line, just an 8-piece bundle called Koi Garden. So Koi Garden is, of course, starts off with this beautiful koi fish. I love the corally pink color, and then with this deep teal navy background. So we have beautiful teals. Here's a tone on tone teal. So that, like I said, 8 pieces in this line. I try to kind of split it between the blues, the lights and the darks. So we have gorgeous, okay, brain block. What are these? Dragonflies. Thank you. Brain sometimes to start working when I'm live. And we have beautiful lotus flowers. And here's a lighter blue koi, a lighter blue background with a bigger koi fish. And then we have the lily pads or whatever these are called in the pink. We have this beautiful print, little froggy hiding here. And then we have the dragonflies on the lighter background. So small line, lights and darks. And I did do a poll, so this background color has a lot of kind of a greenish, bluish hue to it. So the perfect one to go with it was the grunge and the snow white, because it has these specks of green in it and it would just meld perfectly. Then I did a few in this peach pink because there's only one in here. So the speckled papaya is a great match and has a great connection and theme to it as well. And so does that nocturnal diagonal plaid in the primrose, just a very slight print in the plaid, but beautiful tone. Then for some of these lighter aqua light blues, I did the speckle again in the Bermuda, again ties in with the other speckle, and then the bumbleberries and the aqua. Perfect tone. I love the different hues of the bumbleberries. And then I did just a couple of blues. I did the darker one being the jacks and the sapphire, also because it has lights and darks in it, and then the deco stitch in the indigo sky. Has some lighter tying into the light blues. And then I did one green because there's lots of green in here, but it's really emerald. So this just color emerald is perfect with it. So great for a focus print or focused color, would stand out from all of them, but tie very well into it. And then I found a couple of stripes. The love note in the stripe tea rose is perfect tone with the pinks in here. And then the stripe in the pink that has pink, it has some of that orangey or goldish green, and then that corally pink as well. So a little bit wilder, but would be cool as a little pop and stand out. And then as I was coming out of the warehouse, I passed by this print and I thought, this would be perfect for the backing. So the Dance in Paris has kind of the same color story, just a little bit of metallic gold, which, you know, many times Asian fabrics do, but not this one. So I think how fun would this be as a back or a border or something? Just a little bit more modern, but I think it would be really cool. It really works well with it. Tying in the greens, tying in the navy, and then that pop of pink as well, and the aqua, all works together. So Koi Garden, beautiful, beautiful, isn't it? So I think I've only made one quilt using Asian fabrics, We just made a omelet recently. Oh no, I'm lying. I made a couple other ones, but in the past. But I think I gave them both away, so I don't have any. I don't have any. But this is so pretty. And you know, a lot of folks have koi in their gardens in the USA. It doesn't have to be in Asia. So, all right, one more line. This is one of the lines that we had as an option for our retreat in the house. Beautiful line called Passion. So beautiful large prints, and in these gorgeous blues and greens. And I love these just striking, this striking floral with the fruit. I just love the addition of the little fruit in there. So this is the main print. So it has beautiful blues, teals, and greens kind of throughout. So here is one of the geometrics. We have this one as the binding for the retreat quilt. So we have it in we'll have it in 1 yards. A little bit more into the teal aqua tones. Gorgeous print here. Has a little feel like, these have a feel of almost like a batik, but I love these prints. This one, another favorite, these berries on this blue background. Love this pop of kind of brighter limey green. Then we have some geometric prints. A large scale leaf print on the light background. So I just love these colors. And that same geometric and pulling in more of the green. So we're going in more in the green story here. Large leaves, green and teal. We have that same circular print here in the green. A lovely deep forest green. And then we have the butterflies. Look how pretty. Look how pretty. Just that little pop of gold and that brighter greens in there. So then we have the leaf print on a brighter green with a little bit of that lime in there. And the last print is the same as this overall leaf. I love the little action in here, just movement. So this is Passion. And I cannot wait to see Jewel and Strippy Stairways done up in this. I did do a fabric pull. So starting with this end, that limey green color, I found two perfect ones. Chalk and charcoal in the sprout. Look how perfect it is with that. And then the bumbleberries and the gold and green. Also a great fit here. Then I went into kind of the medium greens, and I loved this with it. Alchemy and the Elixir. Obviously, this is a large scale print, but look, it has those blue tones in it too. So it's perfect to go with some of these greens here. So let me put this back how it should be, fold it right, or I'll get in trouble. The master of folding 1 yards is my son, Geesley. He is the master. He is the one everybody asks and has him check their 1 yards, and he actually does the demos on how to do them properly. All right, chalk and charcoal green, that deepest forest green that's in these. So that's our greens. Into our more blues. I'm going to start on the other end with my deepest blue. The grunge and the true blue goes really deep with the back base on this one. The bumbleberries and the basic indigo has some lighter hues to it and a little more movement. Going into a little bit more of the teal, grunge, and the peacock. I love it because it has green in it as well. And so does this one. The Worn Croc and the Everglades goes from the lighter blue, teal, into the darker. And then I did the lightest one, the Deco Stitch and the Teal Fog, kind of here in the middle. If you wanted to add some background to it, the Whispers and the Dashing Feather color, so it's a little bit kind of grayish hue to it, and then the Dash Flow and the Papyrus. We do have, for the retreat quilts, for the Strippy Stairways, we used the canvas in the French Vanilla. I didn't bring it, but that one works really well as a background for these as well. And I found a stripe. The diagonal stripe in the teal. Perfect for this. This is from our Rhythm and Harmony fabric line, but look how great it looks with this. It's awesome. So this is Passion. Like I said, we have set aside the bundles going to our retreaters, and the rest has been listed in the store. Going to be gorgeous. All right, that is it for our new products today. Lots. I tell you, that warehouse is busting at the seam right now. Everybody started shipping again, and they started shipping a lot, didn't they? Now, many of you probably know that Color Club was shipped yesterday and today. So I decided I'm going to wait till Friday to reveal Color Club for February. It's been such a short time since we revealed January, so I thought let's wait a few more days. It'll be more of you that will have received their package. So no peeking, no posting until I show you on Friday. All right, any questions on any of these? Loving the colors I just see. Loving the pulls. I mean, that was one of the things when I asked you guys what you struggle with. So many of you talked about picking colors. So I always encourage you, even though you're not shopping for fabric or I'm showing a bundle that you don't particularly love, watch the fabric pull. Watch how I tie in the colors in the bundle with the 1 yards that I pull. You can learn so much from that. So it's always good. Who doesn't like looking at fabric, whether it's your style or not? I love all fabric. I love all fabric and pulling colors with it. All right, so no more questions. So we have do we have a live winner for us for this show from all of your comments?
Kobe picked this one.
Oh, Kobe did. He's fast asleep behind me. Ellen Olson, congratulations, Ellen. $25 gift card coming your way. Just send a quick email to help@gequiltdesigns.com and we will get it right back to you. So your second chance to win is, of course, to answer our giveaway question. So hang on a little bit longer. I'm going to ask you this question, and you can answer it now, or you have a whole week. We will announce the winner a week from today on our Tipsy Tuesday show. And my question is this: what is your breakfast of choice? Now, this is a tough one. So would you answer, what do you normally have for breakfast? Or what's your breakfast on, like your favorite breakfast, like breakfast of choice? Now, if I could have a mimosa brunch with all the fixins.
What are the fixings?
That's my, like, breakfast of choice.
What are the fixings?
Well, it could be a really good avocado toast with all the stuff. It could be veggies and all the stuff and grits. I don't know. But I should say, okay, then my everyday breakfast is pretty much a ginger shot and a shake, sometimes a little bit of yogurt, some kombucha. That's probably my everyday
just because
breakfast.
You're trying to be healthy.
Yeah, and I feel good. It makes my body feel good.
Right now,
but on the weekends, we make big breunch breakfasts, right?
Yeah, right now mine is Honey Nut Cheerios and almond milk.
Yeah, you've been on a Honey Nut Cheerios kick for, I don't know, a month. That was like, I got that for him because he was, recovering from surgery and still loving his Honey Nut Cheerios. But what's your regular breakfast? What's your,
I don't have really it's yogurt and
granola.
Granola.
But I should say your probably go-to hearty breakfast is grits and eggs, right?
Oh, yeah.
And some veggies and potatoes.
Grits, eggs, veggie sausage, and potatoes.
Vegan sausage. Yum.
That's the best.
Yeah. Too bad we already ate our snack for dinner. We've been making some grits.
Yeah.
All right, tell us what you love for breakfast, and you get a chance to win another $25 gift card. We will announce the winner Tipsy Tuesday, this coming Tuesday next week. That is February 15th, day after Valentine's. And guess what also happens on the 15th? Christmas in Europe block goes live. Yay! But we will see you sooner than that, though. Happy Friday show this coming Friday at 3 p.m. Central. That is February 11th, and we will see you there. Cannot miss it. Thank you for watching tonight. Bye, everybody.
Bye.